Welcome back to The Explainer. Okay, let's dive into this. Today we're unpacking two fundamental forces that completely dictate the atmosphere around us, weather and climate. Now you probably hear these terms tossed around interchangeably all the time, right? In headlines and everyday conversation, but treating them like they're the exact same thing, that is actually a massive misconception. And we're going to break down exactly why.
So do me a favor real quick. Just look outside your window for a second. What do you see? Is it bright and sunny? Maybe it's super cloudy, or maybe it's pouring rain right now. Whatever it is, ask yourself, is it going to look exactly like this tomorrow? What about the day after that? Honestly, the answer is almost universally no.
And that's because our immediate atmosphere is just completely volatile. I mean, it's all over the place. One day you step outside and bam, a sudden downpour absolutely drenches you and forces you right back indoors.
Then the very next day, totally without warning, you've got these gale force winds just rattling the trees. The atmosphere shifts incredibly fast.
But then you have those days of just total, absolute stillness. Not even a tiny breeze, just perfectly, peacefully calm.
And this brilliantly illustrates the point, because you don't even need to wait for a whole new day to see these massive shifts. A single afternoon can be a total pendulum swing. It could be hot and sunny in the morning, and then wildly windy and rainy just a few hours later.
So let's anchor all that immediate chaos into our first core concept, which is weather. Weather is literally just the day-to-day or even hour-by-hour mood of the atmosphere in a specific place. It's super localized. And honestly, it's notoriously tricky to predict perfectly because there are just so many tiny, chaotic variables at play at any given second.
But let's take a step back for a minute. Let's really zoom out. Because while that hour-by-hour reality is constantly shifting and changing, there's a much bigger, deeply stable mathematical picture hiding right there in the background. You see, if you track the data long enough, you start to find these baselines. Conditions that stay constant, not just for days, but for decades.
Now, what's really interesting here is the stark geographical contrast between different realities. Think about it. If you travel up to the mountains of Himachala Pradesh, you just naturally expect it to be cold year-round, right? It's a reliable baseline. Conversely, if you travel down to a coastal city like Chennai, you fully expect warmth all year round. That condition holds completely true, year after year after year.
And that brings us to our second big concept, climate. Climate refers to the average weather conditions of a place over a really long period. In fact, to put that into perspective, meteorologists typically use a standard baseline of exactly 30 years of data just to define a region's climate. You don't determine the climate by just glancing out the window. You determine it through decades and decades of hard data.
So the crucial point is this. The ultimate rule of thumb really just comes down to time frame and nature. Weather is your day-to-day, constantly changing reality. It's that sudden afternoon rainstorm that ruins your picnic. Climate, on the other hand, is the long-term, average condition. It's the whole reason those mountains are reliably cold and the coast is reliably warm.
It's a fundamental difference, and it dictates so much of our world. So the next time someone points to a really cold winter day as proof that global temperatures aren't rising, you know exactly what to ask yourself. Are they looking at the weather, or are they measuring the climate? It's a huge distinction, so definitely keep that in mind. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep staying curious.